Once, while the Buddha was residing at Jataka monastery, he recounted this story about a clever monk and a slingshot. In the city of Savatthi, there was a man highly skilled with the slingshot. One day, as he listened to the Buddha's teachings, he felt moved by the Dhamma and decided to become a monk. After receiving his higher ordination, he joined the community of monks. However, though ordained, he lacked deep devotion to the practice and did not show much respect for the teachings. One day, this monk went to bathe in the Aciravatī River, accompanied by a young novice monk. As they bathed, two white swans flew overhead. The elder monk looked up and said to the novice, "Shall I bring down the swan flying behind by striking its eye with a stone?" The novice, doubting the elder's claim, replied, "How could you possibly hit it? You don't have the skill to do that." The elder monk, confident in his abilities, said, "Not only can I strike the swan's eye on this side, but I can even hit the eye on the far side if I choose." The young novice thought the elder was exaggerating and challenged him, "If you really can, then show me." The elder monk took a small triangular stone and hurled it toward the swan, creating a sound that startled the bird. Hearing the noise, the swan turned its head to locate the source of the danger. Seizing the opportunity, the elder monk then took a round stone and expertly aimed it at the swan's eye. The stone pierced through both eyes, causing the swan to fall from the sky, screaming in pain. Horrified, the young novice reprimanded the elder, saying, "You've done a terrible thing." He led the elder monk to the Buddha and reported the incident, saying, "Venerable sir, this monk has committed a grievous act." The Buddha rebuked the elder monk and remarked, "This man is not only skilled with the slingshot in this life, but was also similarly skilled in the past." He then shared the following story from a previous life. The past life story. Long ago, in the city of Benares, there reigned a king named Brahmadatta. At that time, the Bodhisattva the Buddha in a previous life served as the king's wise minister. Among the king's courtiers was a Brahmin advisor notorious for his incessant chatter. Once he began speaking, he would not stop, leaving no room for others to speak. The king grew weary of the Brahmin's constant prattle and thought, "How can I silence this man?" Meanwhile, there was a crippled man in the city who was highly skilled at slinging stones. Children in the area would often place him in a cart and bring him to a large banyan tree near the city gate. They would give him small coins and challenge him to create different shapes by slinging stones through the leaves of the banyan tree. The crippled man could carve shapes of elephants, horses, lions, and birds, leaving intricate gaps in the leaves. One day, as the king passed by on his way to the pleasure garden, he noticed the unusual patterns in the tree's leaves. Curious, he asked his attendants who was responsible. They informed him that the crippled man was the one who had crafted the shapes. The king thought, "This man might be able to help me silence the Brahmin." He summoned the crippled man and said, "If you can stop the Brahmin's endless talking, I will reward you handsomely." The crippled man agreed, saying, "If I can have a measure of dry goat dung, I can do it." The king brought the man to the palace and positioned him behind a curtain with a small hole in the middle. The talkative Brahmin was invited to sit in front of the curtain. As expected, the Brahmin began to speak without pause. While he spoke, the crippled man used his slingshot to launch pellets of dry goat dung through the hole, aiming them straight into the Brahmin's mouth. Out of respect for the king, the Brahmin did not spit them out, and instead swallowed them. Soon, the Brahmin's stomach was full of goat dung. The king, realizing that the Brahmin might fall ill, instructed him to hurry home, grind the leaves of the piyangu tree, and drink the juice to induce vomiting. Afterward, the Brahmin would regain his health. From that day onward, the Brahmin remained silent, grateful for the peace and quiet. The king rewarded the crippled man by granting him 4 villages in different directions, each yielding an annual income 100,000 gold coins. The Bodhisattva, who served as the wise minister, said to the king, "Your Majesty, even a simple skill, like slinging stones, can lead to great rewards. This man, though crippled, has gained immense wealth because of his mastery. Education and skill are invaluable, and their advantages are limitless." He thus emphasized the value of learning. After telling the story, the Buddha concluded, The crippled man from that time is now this monk who killed the swan. The king was the venerable Ananda, and I, the fully enlightened one, was the wise minister. The Buddha then imparted the moral of the story: whatever you learn brings you wealth and happiness.